Kobudo. In Japan, the term Kobudo is used to describe any traditional martial art, such as the Tenshin Shoten Katori Shintoryu sword school, which trains in various classical weapons rooted in the samurai heritage. Outside Japan, however, Kobudo typically refers to the practice of traditional weapons originating from Okinawa. It is often studied alongside classical karate, known as tote or Chinese hand, also referred to as Okinawan hand, ti, toad, or tuiti, which developed into three main styles: shuri-ti, tamari-ti, and naha-ti, the foundations of modern karate systems. While some karate schools still include Kobudo in their curriculum, it is now more common for karate and Kobudo to be taught separately.
You know, some years change the world, but then there are years that change a world. Today, we're going to dive into one of those, a single year that completely rewrote the history of an entire kingdom, all thanks to one of the weirdest paradoxes you'll ever hear about.
So, the year is 1609. Yeah, 1609. Now, you might not see this date in every single history textbook, but for the islands of Okinawa, trust me, this year was a massive, irreversible turning point. It changed absolutely everything.
And what makes this story so fascinating is the paradox right at its heart. I mean, how on earth does losing a war lead to you conquering a kingdom? It sounds completely backwards, right? But as we're about to see, that's exactly what happened.
All right, so to really get how something this strange could happen, we've got to zoom out a bit. We're talking about the early 1600s, and Japan was just coming out of a long, brutal period of civil war. Powerful clans had been fighting for control, and now that the dust was settling, a new order was taking shape.
Okay, so right in the middle of this massive conflict, you've got this powerful samurai clan from the south, the Satsuma clan. And they made a huge miscalculation. They backed the wrong side. And let me tell you, in the super strict honor-bound world of feudal Japan, that was basically a death sentence for a clan, either politically or, literally.
But what happened next justified all expectations. Instead of being punished, the Satsuma clan got a reward. Yep, you heard me, a reward. And this, my friends, is where politics gets incredibly weird and incredibly clever.
Just think about this for a second. Japan's new leadership rewarded the losers, the Satsuma clan, by giving them permission to go invade and conquer the kingdom of Okinawa. It was a brilliant, if ruthless, political move. Why? Well, it pointed the energy of a powerful and potentially rebellious clan outward, away from Japan's fragile new government.
So, who was the unlucky target in this political chess game? The Ryukyu Kingdom. For centuries, these islands, including Okinawa, had been a peaceful, independent maritime nation. They had their own unique culture, their own royal family, the Shou dynasty. And this is the key thing to remember. They were not part of Japan.
So, with that political permission slip in hand, the Satsuma clan wasted no time. This political decision quickly turned into a full-scale military invasion.
And the process was brutally efficient. First, they got the official green light from the new government. Next, and this is the real key to their success, they got their hands on advanced military tech. And finally, with their soldiers armed and ready, they launched the invasion. And here's the crucial part. This was not a fair fight. The Satsuma samurai didn't just bring swords. They showed up with battalions armed with firearms, which they'd bought from Portuguese traders. This gave them an overwhelming technological advantage against the lightly armed Ryukyuan forces.
The result was as swift as it was tragic. The 1609 invasion marked the end of an entire era for the people of the Ryukyu Islands.
I mean, just look at this comparison here. It really lays out the dramatic shift. Before this one year, Okinawa was the heart of an independent kingdom. After, it fell under the complete and total control of a foreign clan. The power shift was just absolute.
So let's break down the aftermath. Okinawa's independence? Gone. The local Shou dynasty was kept in place, sure, but only as a puppet regime. All the real power was held by Satsuma. And this control didn't just cover Okinawa, it extended to the entire Ryukyu island chain.
Ultimately, 1609 stands as this uniquely tragic and important date in Okinawan history.
In a single stroke, the political games of one nation completely redefined the destiny of another.
And this whole story leaves us with a powerful question, one that really echoes through history, doesn't it? Can the internal politics of one nation truly seal the fate of another? The story of 1609 gives us a pretty clear and pretty sobering answer.
Yoshihisa Shimizu, leader of the Satsuma clan, enacted a series of new regulations for the islanders, including a strict ban on the possession and use of all types of weapons. The only authority permitted was a police force and a unit of guards and bodyguards composed of noble warriors known as Pechen, who served the ousted King Shotai. Although previous Okinawan monarchs had also issued laws restricting weapons, those were less severe, as the island was considered a free port where people of various nationalities, Chinese, Koreans, Japanese, Filipinos, and even American whalers, converged. Commoners in Okinawa were forbidden from keeping any object that could be used as a weapon, either on their person or in their homes. In each village's central square, a single knife was kept under guard, intended to serve all domestic needs of the community. The Pechen, trained in Chinese martial arts and Japanese swordsmanship, Kenjutsu, along with Okinawan villagers driven by resentment toward the invading samurai, began adapting everyday tools, such as farming and fishing implements, into weapons for self-defense.
Until the early 20th century, Kobudo was not recognized in Okinawa as a formal martial art, but rather as an extension of karate practice. Each weapon or tool was trained in secrecy by different families across various villages. Some specialized in the bua, long staff, others in the iku, or kama, sickle, or in the timbe, turtle shell shield, paired with the rochin, short spear or machete, among others. These families and communities closely guarded their techniques, encoded in specific forms or kata. Over time, certain noble warriors, Pechen, and martial arts masters, Bushi, took the initiative to systematically organize and consolidate Okinawa's weapon-based knowledge into a structured discipline.
You know, every martial art has a story, right? A history of how it all began. But the one we're looking at today, it's a little different. This style wasn't just developed, it was hidden. It's a tale of travel, of secrets, and an incredible family legacy. So let's dive in and uncover the art of Matayoshi Kobujutsu.
So, that really is the big question, isn't it? Can a single journey completely redefine a martial art? Well, it's a question that one man, Shinko Matayoshi, answered without saying a single word. Instead, he used a lifetime of dedication, a dedication that was going to change Okinawan martial arts for good.
All right, so let's meet our main character, Shinso Matayoshi. Now, this guy was already a big deal, a respected master of Shorin-ryu karate, but he got completely fascinated by something else, something older, a discipline that went way beyond just empty hands.
And this right here really shows you the difference. Shorin-ryu, the style he'd already mastered, that's what you'd call an empty hand art. But his new passion, Kobujutsu, well, that was a whole other ballgame. We're talking about the art of traditional Okinawan weapons.
So, you might be asking, what exactly is Kobujutsu? Well, think of it as the traditional martial art of Okinawa that's all about weapons. You know, the bow staff, the sai, nunchaku, all of it. This was the world that Matayoshi was absolutely determined to dive into.
Okay, so how does a master in Okinawa manage to learn all this new stuff? I mean, so dramatically. The answer is, well, it's pretty surprising. His path to becoming a legend wasn't found in a dojo. Nope. It was all thanks to his day job.
Believe it or not, Shinko Matayoshi was a mining inspector. And yeah, that sounds like a totally normal job, right?
But for him, it was a golden ticket. It gave him this incredible opportunity to travel all over the place, way outside of Okinawa. And we're not talking about short trips either. His job took him all across China, to big, bustling cities like Shanghai, Annan, Manchuria, and even Sakhalin. Every single stop was a brand new chance for him to just soak up new techniques, new ideas, new philosophies.
And here's the thing. He wasn't just some tourist checking out the sights. No way. He was a student. He dove headfirst into studying Chinese martial arts. He was learning about weapons that people back home had never even heard of, like the 3-section staff or the surichin, that's a weighted chain. This whole journey let him create his own totally unique take on Kobujutsu.
So picture this. He comes back to Okinawa with all this incredible new knowledge, all fused together. The obvious move, right, would be to open a dojo, teach everyone what he'd learned. But that's not what he did. He made a completely different and honestly a pretty shocking decision.
You see, his own teacher, a master named Moden Yabiku, taught his art to anyone who wanted to learn. He was very public about it. But Shinko Matayoshi, he went the complete opposite direction. He decided that this new art he had created would be a secret, a tradition for his family and his family alone. You have to wonder why, right? Maybe he thought it was just too special, too precious to be watered down.
Just think about that for a second. A whole lifetime of travel, of studying, of creating something new, a complete martial arts system. And it wasn't written down in books or taught in some big class. Nope, the entire thing was handed down directly to just one person.
And that brings us to the next chapter of the story, and to the one person who was given this incredible secret to carry on.
And that person was his son, Shinpo Matayoshi. He was the one and only inheritor of Matayoshi Kobujutsu. The entire future of the art was now resting on his shoulders.
But this is where the story takes another huge turn. Shinpo, he totally honored his father's art, but he saw a different future for it. He decided this knowledge was just too important to be kept a secret. So he started sharing the family style with the world, and you know what? He became a hugely respected master in his own right.
His skill was so incredible that he earned this really powerful reputation and a very specific nickname all across Okinawa. It was a name that said everything you needed to know about his expertise.
Now, to get the nickname, you first have to know about his favorite weapon, the kama. Basically, these were traditional farming tools. They kind of looked like short sickles. They were adapted for fighting in Kobujutsu. But in Shinpo's hands, wow, they were more than just weapons, they were pure art.
So that nickname, Kama Nati, it translates to something simple but so powerful. Matayoshi, the Kama expert. I mean, what a title. It was this huge sign of respect, and it really cemented who he was. The heir who didn't just protect his father's secret art, but actually perfected a part of it and then gave it to the world. So, the story of Matayoshi Kobujutsu was a family secret for an entire generation. And it really makes you think, doesn't it? What other amazing skills, what other incredible stories or treasures are out there, hidden away, being passed down quietly inside families, just waiting for the right time and the right person to share them with the rest of us?
Outside of Japan, the term Kobudo is generally used to refer to Okinawan Kobudo. This martial art focuses on the use of various traditional weapons. The most prominent ones include the Rokashikubo, a staff approximately 183 centimeters long, commonly known as the bwa, the sai, a metal truncheon, the tonfa, a side-handle baton, the kama, a traditional sickle, and the nunchaku, a weapon consisting of 2 sections of wood connected by a cord or chain. Lesser-known Okinawan weapons include the teko, knuckle dusters, the tinbei, and rochin, a shield made from turtle shell or wicker, paired with a short spear or machete, the suriken, a chain or rope with weighted ends, the jo, a medium-length staff or walking stick, about 1.3 meters long, the hanbo, a medium staff about 90 centimeters, the tambo, a short stick about 30 centimeters, the iku, a traditional boat oar, the sansetsuken, a 3-section staff similar to the nunchaku, the kuwa, a hoe, the nunti, a type of sai with one prong pointing downward, and the nunti bow, a bwa staff with a nunti attached to one end. However, it is important to note that in the West, a common misconception persists that Kobudo is limited to just a few weapons, with the most well-known being the bwa, sai, tonfa, nunchaku, and kama.